Buenos días, Satish. Es un gran placer que estés con nosotros en Madrid durante estos días y que también podamos tener esta pequeña charla para conocer mejor tu pensamiento. Tras vivir todo lo que has vivido, ¿qué perlas de sabiduría le dirías a un adolescente, a una persona de 30 años y a otro de 50 años?
I would give my advice to a teenager or somebody older, even up to age of 50, is to focus that you are a spiritual being. You are not just your body, which needs food, which needs clothes, which needs comfort, house, everything, but you're also consciousness, your spirit. And the body and the spirit are together. Body affects the spirit, body affects the mind, body affects the consciousness, but also mind and consciousness and spirit affects the body. If you only look after your body, that's a very limited, one-sided. You need to be both-sided. We are also spirit. And so from the early age when I was 9 years old, I learned this lesson. And when I was 20 and 30 years old, I learned the same lesson. And when I was 50 years old, I learned the same lesson, that we are more than our body. Body is part of us, absolutely, an integral part. We don't deny the body, but we are not just body. We are also consciousness, we are also imagination, we are also our spirit. And those non-physical, metaphysical dimensions need to be brought into play at every stage of our life. At the moment, the materialism with which I started our conversation, that materialism has become the greatest challenge of our time and the greatest problem of our time, because we believe that what matters is only what can be measured. There's a kind of René Descartes and other Western scientists have come to believe that only thing what exists is what can be measured. Matter. Matter can be measured. So the measure and matter come from the same root, like meter. You measure with the meter. And so matter, meter, measure. I would say yes, we need to measure our material things. We need to measure what we can use. But there is something beyond measurement, and that's a meaning. We have to move from measure to meaning, from matter to meaning. René Descartes, the French philosopher, divided matter and mind. And that's where the problems begin, dualism of matter and mind. And you put, when you bring them together, matter and mind together, then you have a holistic view. So at every stage in our life, we have to renew this awareness. We have to be aware of our spiritual existence and renew our awareness of the unity of matter and mind, matter and meaning. At the moment, people are living life without meaning, without understanding what is the purpose of my life, what is the meaning of my life. Only thing we can measure is how much money I have, how big house I have, how many cars I have, what kind of job I have. These are all material things we can measure. But what is the meaning of your life? Why have you come on this planet Earth? Where are you going? Where have you come from? All these questions never asked in our education or in our media, in our society, in our families. We don't ask these questions. And so at every stage of your life, from teenage to young to old, this eternal question we have to ask, what is the meaning of my life? And that meaning cannot be measured. So rising above materialism and measuring and understanding the meaning of life is essential at every stage.
¿Cómo es tu relación de pareja actualmente? ¿Cómo la valoras? ¿Qué es lo importante en esta relación?
I have been very fortunate. I have been married to my wife for the past 45 years. And our relationship is based in love and freedom at the same time. Love should liberate. Love should not bind. We are engaged with each other without being attached to each other. There is no attachment. There is engagement, there's a relationship, there's a love, there's a freedom. I often say that when husband and wife, man and woman come together, one and one don't become two, they become 11. 1 and 1, 11. So we stand next to each other, respect each other, and allow freedom so that each one of us can pursue our philosophy, thinking, life in whatever way we want, and collaborate and work together at the same time. And this principle has served both of us for 45 years, and we are very happy together. Now, we also follow every day a pattern of life. So, in the morning, we start the day together, and we have at least 1 hour between 7 to 8 in the morning when we do something together. We read together, so we could read something from a sacred text, from Buddhist text, or some other Christian text, or some other philosophical text, some poetry, Hafiz or Rumi or Tagore, or something which is inspiring. So that way, when we begin the day together with higher level of consciousness, then our day goes much more smoothly, because we have spent some time together. Then I have a principle: acceptance rather than expectation. If you expect your wife or your husband to do things in a certain way, and if they don't do in a certain way, you are disappointed. Expectations bring disappointment. But acceptance of the other as they are, whatever they do, in whatever way they be, accept them without argument. So I try to avoid 3 C's. First C is criticism. I try not to criticize my wife, because by criticizing, you are sort of putting your view and imposing it on your partner. So no criticism, acceptance of the other as the other is, without criticism. The second, comparing. I do not compare my wife with some other woman or some other person or some other being. Every human being is a unique person. We cannot compare the two. So you are not as good as that person. But every person is different. If you wanted this person to be like that person, why you have 2 people? So accepting that diversity, that uniqueness of each being is important for good relationship. And so no comparison. Accept your wife, your husband, your partner as that partner, that husband, that wife is. Acceptance. Total, unconditional, unquestioning acceptance. No comparison. And the third C I avoid is complaining. Do not complain. Because when you have accepted your partner as other is, then why are you complaining? Things they will do differently than you do. Let them do how they are doing without complaining. And so no expectations, total acceptance, and in that acceptance, no criticism, no comparison, and no complaining. I follow those three principles, and because of that, I am very happy and blessed to have a wonderful relationship with my wife. It's based in love and freedom.
¿Consideras que una relación larga añade calidad a la relación de pareja? ¿Qué puedes sugerirnos para que las relaciones se puedan mantener en el tiempo de forma satisfactoria?
If you can have long relationship, that is a good blessing, and that's ideal. Because in long relationship, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. It matures. This is my experience. So I think that is good way to follow and good to pursue and meditate and contemplate on having good relationship for a long term basis. And if there are some minor disagreements and minor points, minor problems, then you can solve them, you can resolve them, but don't break just because of a little problem. Have a patience, have a bit of endurance so that you don't go break. However, sometimes it is possible that two people come together and then they realize that they are not compatible. So incompatibility can create situation in which you don't feel happy. In that situation, I would say you can separate your close relationship without acrimony, without conflict, without anger, with friendship. We met, we were friends, we loved each other for a while, but we are not compatible for each other. Let's find our different ways. With friendship, without anger. Because anger not only hurts the other person, it hurts you. Anger is not bad for somebody else with whom you are angry. Anger is also hurting you and damaging you. And therefore, if you are not compatible, incompatibility, then with understanding and with generosity, with humility, with kindness and compassion, you can find your different ways. I'm not against that. But when people go into conflict and a kind of anger and acrimony and all that, that damages both sides. So if we can avoid that, that would be ideal. But if you can manage a long-term relationship, and even sometimes life is not straightforward. Life is ups and downs, like walking on a coast path when you go to Camino de Santiago and you are walking, and there sometimes you go down, sometimes you go up, sometimes it's raining, sometimes it's sun shining, sometimes it's windy, sometimes it's stormy, sometimes things change. There's never ever a kind of smooth, even and a kind of a wonderful weather and a wonderful path. Ups and downs are part of pilgrimage. And so married life is also a pilgrimage. It's a Camino de Santiago, Camino marriage. So we have to sometimes accept and live with ups and downs and some difficulties, and don't just in a hurry break your relationship. That's what I have done. And in my 45 years, I have a wonderful experience.
Hoy en día hay muchos divorcios y relaciones de parejas consecutivas. ¿Qué opinas de eso?
That is part of life, as I said before, because if people find relationship incompatible, then there is a divorce. But the ideal situation would be to find deep love. Love is not logical. Love is magical. And love has to be unconditional. And when you give unconditional love, even when times are difficult, you need to go back and swim in this infinite sea of love. Then whatever your relationship, whether first relationship or second relationship or third relationship, whatever relationship is, in the end, if you don't follow the unconditional love, then no marriage will be successful. So in the end, the success of marriage, success of relationship is in that unconditional, unlimited love. When you are spellbound by love, when you are swimming in the love, when you have a monsoon of love, then all will be cool. So love is the answer. What is the question? All questions are answered in love. And as I said before, if one relationship is not compatible, you change it, but still remember that in the end, the relationship will work only if you are prepared to let go of your ego and surrender to love.
En este momento de tu vida, ¿qué es meditar para ti?
At this moment in my life, I am very much meditating on nature. Because nature, for me, is a source of inspiration. So I go out and walk in nature. Where I live in England, in Devon, there's a beautiful Dartmoor, which is a very wild national park. So every week, at least once a week, I go and walk on Dartmoor and be in solitude, just by myself. Sit on the rock, or sit under a tree, or sit by the river. And that way, when I connect with nature, I'm inspired by nature, the beauty of nature, the abundance of nature, the generosity of nature, the love of nature. That is amazing. So my meditation at the moment is on nature. When I just see flowers in the spring, you have these not only daffodils, not only primroses, but fields and fields and fields of bluebells. So I'm so amazed. I'm so staggered to see the abundance and the beauty and the generosity and the compassion of nature. How much nature is giving me. What can I do? I cannot do anything in comparison back to nature. So my meditation, my contemplation, my spirituality comes from nature. My religion is nature. When I sit in the nature, I see as if this is my temple, this is my shrine, this is my cathedral. I don't have to go to any other place. My religion is nature. My spirituality comes from my deep relationship with nature. So when I am sitting by the sea and seeing the sunset in the evening, I am overwhelmed. That's my deep experience. And so that's what my meditation is at the moment.
¿Para ti existe una clara distinción entre espiritualidad y religión?
Yes, there is a distinction between spirituality and religion. Religion, when we say religion, we suddenly think of the institutionalized religion. Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, Jainism, etc., etc. So in the name of religion, we see divisions, separation. And then in the name of religion, we say, my religion is better than your religion. Hinduism is better than Islam. Islam is better than Buddhism. Buddhism is better than Christianity. Christianity is better than Judaism, etc., etc. So this is the problem. If we can rise above this division, if we can transcend this idea that my religion is better than your religion, and if we can say that my religion is one way, like a school, I go to a school, you go to a different school. I went to one art school, you went to another art school. Your art school is no better than my art school, or my art school is no better than your art school. There are two different kind of art schools. In the same way, I learned meditation in a Christian church to pray, or I learned meditation in a Buddhist temple. Same, different way, but meditation is the same. In the end, the truth is in my heart. The spirituality is in my heart. And so if we can transcend this narrow, dogmatic view of religion, then religion can be a good place. It can serve people. It can bring together community of people and can be a part of community of learning and community of experience and community of helping each other. But at the moment, unfortunately, religions have become divisive, whereas spirituality automatically goes beyond religion. Like rivers go into the ocean. All religions in the end come to spirituality. And the spirituality, the word spirit, comes from breathing. Inspirare, expirare. When you breathe in, you are inspired. When you breathe out, you are expiring. When you stop breathing, you are expired. So breathing is relationship, because you and I breathe the same air. Whole of humanity is breathing the same air, and because of that we are all connected, we are all related. That connection is spirituality. So through spirituality we are connected, and therefore we have a compassion. Compassion means relationship. You have to be compassionate to somebody or something, to nature or to people. This is a relationship. Love is also a relationship. You have to love somebody. You love a tree, you love flowers, you love animals, you love birds, you love humans, you love children, you love your wife, you love your husband, you love your parents, you love your children. Love is relationship. So service is the same. It's a relationship. So spirituality means breathing, breathing together, being related to each other, and out of the relationship we are compassionate, we are kind, we are loving, we are caring, we are generous, we are in the sense of, in the spirit of service. So for me, spirituality is uniting. Religion can be, not necessarily, but can be divisive. But if you can transcend from division and divisiveness and respect all religions and follow your own religion, I have no problem. If you are a Christian, be a good Christian. What does being Christian means? Love your neighbor as yourself. Love even your enemy. That's a wonderful teaching. Love transcends all divisions. But you can be a Christian and go to war. Where is the Christianity? You are a Christian and you exploit nature. You destroy nature. Where is the Christianity? So in the same way, be a good Buddhist. If you are a good Buddhist, you are compassionate to all living beings. So this narrow thinking and divisive thinking has created religious problem. We can transcend that. We can go above that. But if you can't, then I would say practice spirituality and don't worry about religions.
¿Cómo ha cambiado tu relación con Dios desde que fuiste monje hasta este momento?
In the Jain tradition, where I was a monk, in the similar way in the Buddhist tradition, we do not have idea of a creator God. Our idea of God from those traditions is that God is the metaphysical reality which holds the whole universe together, maintains the whole universe in its true form. That is God. God is not somebody beyond the clouds with big beard, created the world in 7 days and then resting now in the heaven. So is not a person. God is not a person. God is the truth. God is the consciousness. God is the principle of love. And love and consciousness and truth are the energy which hold the universe together. The universe is maintained by truth, by consciousness, and by love. And so for me, coming from Jain tradition, that was the idea. And now I have even deeper understanding of that idea, that God is not a person, God is a principle of truth, of love, of consciousness. And that permeates throughout the universe. Universe is held by these principles. Whether it's a flowers, or fruit, or the ocean, or the mountains, or the human beings, or the stars, or the galaxies, or the moon, or the sun, everything is held by this supreme consciousness. And that supreme consciousness is divine, is God. It's not a physical reality, it's a metaphysical reality. And when I have that understanding, that is my God. So nature is my God, universe is my God, truth is my God, love is my God, consciousness is my God.
¿Cuál es lo que consideras el verdadero motor de tu desarrollo espiritual? ¿La meditación, el estado de presencia, la devoción, el servicio?
I would say that my spirituality and my way of relating the world is through service. Because whatever I have done, it is in the service of the planet Earth and the humanity. I have been writing books, editing a magazine, teaching at Schumacher College, the small school I started. All these activities are in the service of humanity and the service of the planet Earth. Because when I'm in the service of the humanity and the planet Earth, that is my meditation. I'm doing all that with mindfulness, with awareness. So mindfulness, meditation, devotion, all those come together in the form of service. Because when I am in the service of humanity and the planet Earth, then I'm devoted to humanity and I'm devoted to planet Earth. So my devotion comes because I've surrendered my ego. I'm not doing something for myself. It's not for my name or fame or awards or recognition or money or anything else. I want nothing. I'm here because I have received so much from the earth. I received my body. Body is made of the earth. I received from my parents so much. I received from my ancestors so much. I received my food, my air, my water, my sunshine from the universe. So if I can do something back, a small amount in return, that's my service. So everything I do in the form of service, as a service in my heart. That is my devotion, that is my mindfulness, that is my awareness. All the other qualities are part of the sense of service.
¿Cuál es la última llamada de tu corazón en este momento?
The last call of my heart is that somehow we need to find a way of living in harmony with each other and with ourselves. Quite often, we don't live in harmony with ourselves. We have an idea that I'm not good enough. Sometimes we say, I want to be like somebody else. Recognizing that I am a spiritual being, I am good, I am a gift to the universe, I'm here to serve. This recognition, this self-confidence, you can even call self-love. Jesus Christ said, love your neighbor as yourself. Loving yourself is not selfish. Loving yourself is prerequisite for loving others. If you don't love yourself, how can you love others? Therefore, my call is that start with yourself, because you are the universe. You are a microcosm of macrocosm. You are the sun, you are the moon, you are the stars. Literally, you are the child of the stars. You are the forests, you are the soil, you are everything. You are microcosm of macrocosm. So take care of yourself. Make yourself kind and generous and compassionate to yourself. And then, as I said before, serve others. So my call is this: everybody, we all need to start with ourselves. Our long pilgrimage of life begins with ourselves. If we don't take care of ourselves, how are we going to take pilgrimage of life?
En tu biografía, No Destination, describes cómo tu madre hizo ayuno cuando sintió que había llegado su momento de morir. Esto es habitual en la India. Sin embargo, según la tradición cristiana, Dios ha de decidir el momento de la muerte. Y también, según otras tradiciones, el decidir ese momento generaría karma. ¿Qué opinas sobre esto?
Yes, in my autobiography, No Destination, I have spoken about the way my mother decided to end her life. Because my mother felt that she has done all what she could do in her life. She has fulfilled the purpose and the meaning of her life. Now it is time to embrace death. Now, as you said, in some religious tradition, this might be considered as a suicide. But in Jain tradition, suicide is only if you are doing it out of a negative purpose. Negative, that you don't like the world, you don't like your situation, your marriage is not good, your job is not good, you are fed up with life, you are frustrated with life, therefore you go and commit suicide. That's different. When you are happy and you want to embrace death, not because of some negative reason, but for a positive reason, that now you have lived good life, you are happy, everything is done, all the work is done, now it's time to embrace death, rather than just a kind of carry on. You can't hear, you can't see, you can't walk, you are dependent on other people, you have no quality of life. That is a kind of situation in which you are not able to fulfill the purpose of your life. So for a very positive reason, if you are fasting to death, that is considered a holy act, a sacred act in Jain tradition. It's a respected, and it's in Jain tradition, many people, monks particularly, but also lay people, will embrace death at the end. It's a positive action, moving towards the death and meeting the death. I'm ready, no fear of death. I'm ready, come, and now I'm fasting. So I welcome you. This positive attitude, I think, can be a very good thing. We must not misunderstand this idea. And this idea that this is a kind of God decides when to die, but God is speaking to you from your heart. God is not going to decide something outside you. God is speaking from inside you. So this calling from within your heart, within your soul, coming, I want to embrace death. Maybe it is God speaking to you. God is deciding for you, in the case of my mother and the case of many Jain monks and nuns. So I don't think it is something against God. You are fulfilling the voice of the God which is coming within you. And the idea that this will create bad karma, I don't think that is true, because this is a good karma, because you are not acting out of fear, but you are acting out of positive reason, and therefore this will not accumulate any negative karma. At the moment, there are many people who want to go to Switzerland or some other place to get some medical help to end life. When you are unwell and the quality of life is not good, then you go and take some medical help, some medicine or some injection or something to die. That is a modern way, but I think the traditional Jain way is not to take a medical help, but to go fasting. And through fasting, death. I would say that is a good, positive action. And I praise my mother for taking that action. And I would not be unhappy if I had such calling in my own heart, and at the end of my life, if I felt that I am not very well and not good enough to fulfill any other purpose, and I have fulfilled all my purpose, I have fulfilled all my meaning, and if I can fast to die, I will welcome that.
¿Y tú te preparas de alguna forma para tu muerte?
I am not afraid of death. Death is not the end of life. Death is a door into new life. And so I welcome death. No fear. I am prepared, and I think about death. I contemplate on death. I meditate on death. And death is a good thing. Death will liberate me from this old body so that I can acquire maybe a new body. So death is a way of liberating, and it's a natural process. Nature means birth and death. This is a cycle of birth and death. Nature is circular, cyclical. The economy of nature is cyclical, but life is also cyclical. It's a cycle of life which I embrace. I am not afraid of death. So I am prepared, and I meditate, I contemplate on death as a good thing, as a liberating thing.
¿Cuál es la pregunta que quisieras responder para terminar esta entrevista?
The question which I would like to answer is, people say, what can I do? My answer would be, not what can I do, but how can I be? Being or having. Our modern education, modern culture, modern civilization teaches us having rather than being, doing rather than being. So I would like to say that to be is the basis, is the foundation for all our doing. So our doing should emerge naturally out of being, rather than worry about doing, having. So we want to have friends. I would say the way to have friends is to be friend. When you are being friend, you will have friend. Having should be the consequence of being. Like consuming should be the consequence of making. If you cook delicious food, then you enjoy eating it. But if you want to eat food without cooking, then it's consuming. So being is the answer rather than having or doing to all our questions. And by being, I mean being in love. And love is acceptance of life as it is and rise above good and bad. The Sufi poet Rumi said, there is a field beyond right and wrong. Meet me there. And that is the field of being. That's the field beyond doing and having, right and wrong, but just being. And being, you transcend all divisions of right and wrong. So answer is to be.
Muchísimas gracias, Satish, por todo lo que nos has transmitido en todos los planos, en esta conversación y en la parte conceptual también. Muchísimas gracias de corazón.
Thank you. Grazie.